Ngannou opened up as the betting favorite over Jon Jones. Now, I've never understood fully why we're ever taking lines and taking action on a fight that is not signed or made, or even in this case, likely to happen. I've never understood that, but let's set it aside. Okay, let's set that aside. I did find the numbers a little bit interesting because they did the same thing, the same mythical make-believe fight, but they put out the odds for Ngannou versus Daniel Cormier, of which Daniel Cormier was the favorite. So if you look at those numbers in that round robin between these three, they're saying that they believe Daniel beats Ngannou. We know that Jones beat Daniel twice, but they believe that Ngannou is going to beat Jones. Now, I realize that people will often say MMA math doesn't work. You can't say that A equals B and therefore B equals C. You can't do that with an MMA, and that is true, but it's a good starting point. I mean, as much as people want to dismiss MMA math and say, oh, it's the matchups, not the match, it's the fights, not the fighters, you could do that to try to sound like you're the smart guy in the room, but history's going to make you look like a doofus. MMA math largely works. If you beat a guy and that guy beat a guy, you're likely to beat the guy that you guy beat. Are you with me on this? That is generally how it works. You're going to find some exceptions. That's true. But MMA math, large part, does work. It absolutely does, and I am a little bit confused how you could think that Daniel was going to beat Ngannou, but Ngannou is going to beat Jones. It's a little bit confusing for me. That doesn't mean it's false. This was just my general takeaway on it, and when you do break down Jones and Ngannou, I think that that's an interesting match. If you think Ngannou is going to win, without question, you believe Ngannou is going to knock out Jon Jones. If you're a handicapper and you walk up to the window and you say, I would like Ngannou to beat Jones at even money, that's ridiculous. You should say, I want Ngannou, and I'll take a bigger risk for better odds, which is Ngannou by knockout. That's how Ngannou wins every fight that Ngannou has ever won. So that is very reasonable. The problem that you're going to have is Jon Jones has never been knocked out. I don't believe Jon Jones has ever been knocked down. I believe the official rating on that says Jon Jones has been knocked down one time, and that was the Reyes fight, but that isn't what I saw. Jon was throwing a kick. He was on one foot. Reyes threw a punch. It hit Jon in the chest, knocked him off balance, sprung back up to his feet. I don't know if that would qualify as a knockdown, but I'm talking about knockdown, guys. He's got to get knocked out. Now, nobody gets knocked out until they get knocked out. You can think back to the great Michael Spinks, undefeated, world champion, I believe Olympic champion. Goes in there with Iron Mike Tyson, lasts 93 seconds. Not only does he get knocked out, he got knocked down 3 times, all in just over a minute and a half. So I do understand that power changes everything, and that's an interesting match, and I'm not arguing against you if you're on Team Ngannou. I would just be interested on how you got to that decision if you were like the masses and the odd makers that believed Daniel would beat Ngannou. And Daniel versus Ngannou, I mean, isn't that a nightmare matchup for Ngannou? Isn't that essentially Stipe all over again? You got a guy with some hands who's a great athlete and a great competitor that, by the way, is a great wrestler and possibly even better at ground control once he gets you down there. He happens to be really good at the one thing you're not really good at. I mean, I could see how you could get to that conclusion that, yes, Daniel's going to go out there and control Ngannou. In fact, let's just keep him away from Daniel because that's probably not even all that fun of a match. But then how do you get to the conclusion that Ngannou's going to go out there and run over Jones? Not arguing with you. I would just like to know, what am I missing?